Hey guys, how's it going everyone out there? And thank you for tuning in to the Deep Threats today and for being here. As always, the show is brought to you by yours truly, KJAM, and my adorable second chair, Wheels. How you doing today, buddy?
Pretty good. Excited to talk about some stupid rule changes, in my opinion, and power rankings that we're going to discuss and go more in depth to these roster changes after the draft, and maybe talk a little bit about how we value these guys in Dynasty. So stick around and find out how, we're going to rank all these guys, even if defenses, because I'm in some IDP leagues. So we're here for you, as always. Hop in the chat, hop in Facebook. We have a Discord now page that KJAM's running, so I'll let him pump that.
Yeah, I am trying to get you guys all activated for Fantasy Dynasty and all things football, whether it be the college football or the NFL, and I'm doing my best out there to just get stuff like just jamming down the throat of people, to be honest with you, because I'm ready to talk some Marvin Harrison talk. I'm ready to talk with the NFL. I'm ready they got schedules out for the NCAA now. Like, I am ready to talk some football, and it's not going to go anywhere. No. It's football. What is it? 24/7, 365.
Yep. And this will be our first full year of going from draft to off season to NCAA to preseason football into regular season for this show. So we are already going in depth in the rookies for the next year's draft in 2024. So we are going to have a lot of stuff to say about these guys when time comes. But I know we love Marvin Harrison because we are huge OSU fans. And, maybe a crazy take, but I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will be better than his father. And
I don't think it's a crazy take. I think that's what they're kind of saying around the NFL right now is that, outside that last end of season concussion, which I don't believe was concussion. I think they just held him out of the game.
Yeah.
Because he was ready to play, but I think a lot of people agree with that, is that he's going to be that good. But as we was saying on the docket for today, we plan getting back into the AFC power rankings, talking about some about the East and the West. And both these divisions will be wild this year just because they're always in the AFC. Their quarterbacks are always dominant. And we don't know about any of the rest of these teams. Just kidding. First, we all get into the least controversial of the day, and we will talk about the AFC West. But before we do, we're going to have some words to say about one of the best players, actors, and people to be on this earth fighting for American equality since he was young. And that would be our own Dog Pound colleague, James Nathaniel Brown, also known as Jim Brown. And as you guys see on the graphic there right now, we all know that we've talked kind of off the field and talked a little bit out of the podcast that Jim Brown did just pass away on May 19th of this year, which was like 6 days ago. Guy was a 9-time Pro Bowler, which means he made the Pro Bowl every year he was in the NFL. 3-time MVP. I make a joke, but it's not really a joke because he was a lifetime human rights activist. He did everything from setting up organizations to standing by the side of Muhammad Ali when he chose not to fight. 3-time Hall of Fame. He was a Hall of Fame in the NFL, College Football Hall of Famer, and Lacrosse Hall of Famer, which to me was kind of news and groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I did not know he was that good in lacrosse.
Nor did I. He did win the Rookie of the Year in 1957. He was the unanimous MVP or not
He
MVP,
was
Rookie of the Year.
He
in
actually
57.
refused to play in the Olympics
I did not know
to continue his career with the NFL,
Okay.
which is amazing in itself. And I think we went over the stats a little bit. I talked about Jim Brown so much in the past week. Guy had over 12,000 rushing yards in 9 seasons, over 100 yards per game.
Yep, every season was with the Browns.
107 total touchdowns over 9 seasons.
I mean, is he still the leading rusher or is Nick Chubb taking over as the leading rusher?
Well, I think he's still the leading rusher, but I think if Nick Chubb continues on his path, we could have in Cleveland the best top 2 running backs of all time.
Yeah.
And anybody who argues that Jim Brown is not the best of all time,
go back and watch the way the games were played back then, and your mind will change very easily because it's not like it is. I mean, there was a much tougher league back then.
It was a lot harder of a position too.
Oh yeah, because there wasn't a passing league back then. So I mean, essentially the entire team kind of sat on your shoulders versus it being the quarterback. I'm not taking anything away from the quarterbacks back then, but
round
it was more,
and pound trenches all day.
I mean, that's why those linebackers and edges and D tackles were so big back then. I mean, they were huge. You're running into brick walls, and the dude just ran through them like nothing.
And for all of you that aren't like kind of listening, also check into the graphic. I'll read this off to you guys really quick. NFL career was from 57 to 65. He went into the NFL Hall of Fame in 1971. College Football Hall of Fame in 91, which by the way is shocking to me that it took that long for him to make it in the College Football Hall of Fame. But I know there's a lot more players that go into the College Football Hall of Fame. So, and then Lacrosse Hall of Fame was 1983. And then he had an acting career, which is why he left football, was to get into other things. And acting was one of the first things he got into. His first film was in 1968. It was an old Westerner. And he did that from 1968 to 2014. So Jim Brown, outside of just being a supporting guy, sometimes had some main roles in a lot of films. And I couldn't believe the amount of films he was in his entire career. The dude was in everything. I mean,
he was in some. I watched a football movie a couple weeks back, and he was in it.
He was in Draft Day.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Too. He was in a lot of movies. You know, he wasn't the main character or a huge supporting character, but he was there. But like, I didn't watch the old Western from the '60s, which he was probably more in depth in. But I didn't know he was a lacrosse player or was an actor after he left the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Brown did just about everything.
And he left early. I mean, only 9 years.
Yep, Dirty Dozen. Yep, that was another movie he was in. You were right, Steve. Yeah, there was so many movies he was in. I could have gone over the filmography. I thought about it, but I'm like, it's a football show. I want to kind of keep it as much football as possible. The dude did everything.
So you think they're going to make a statue for him?
Does he not have a statue?
I don't know, honestly.
I think he has one in Cleveland.
I mean for the Hall of Fame. Do you think they'll make him his actual own statue in the Hall of Fame? Like rather than just his head, do you think
outside of the bust? Yeah. I don't. It's so hard to say. I mean, I think here's the thing. No, you want
because of the background and everything.
No,
with the allegations.
So he's been to jail for 4 months out of a 6-month term, and that was for abusing his ex-wife's car. To each his own. Bad marriages are bad marriages. I don't care about that. But the reason why I say no is because of his avid support for Donald Trump, and we all know what that does politically to you. It kind of just, boom, you're out of there.
It puts you in a pine box.
Yeah, so I think the NFL is just not a fan of people that do that. So we'll see what happens. I think he deserves it. Everything he's done on and off the field and for, like I said, human rights and he was an American rights kind of guy. So like he believed no matter what, no one was going to hold him back anything.
No. And I love all the people that are kind of dragging his name through the mud now. All of a sudden,
he definitely whooped on women. He's from the '60s, man. I don't know what to tell you.
The '60s was a different time, Steve. But so going off to another Browns player that was put into the Greater Cleveland Hall of Fame is Josh Cribbs, which career wouldn't be as stellar as it was if he was playing now with the added rule change that just got added, or that will be implemented.
This is a very hard segue, but I like it. So Wheels, before we got into the talks today, he wanted to talk a little about the rule changes. The one rule change. There was 2 rule changes that actually got approved. The one rule change was the 3 quarterback on the depth chart in the playoffs.
Yeah, so the 3 quarterback...
That got approved.
Yeah, the 3 quarterback in the depth chart is he has to be on your 53-man roster, and the only time he's allowed to play is if both your quarterbacks go down and cannot come back after injury. But if they are cleared to come back, he has to then sit, and you have to play that quarterback no matter what. As long as he is cleared by the NFL... you have to play your backup and not the third stringer, which I actually like this idea because, maybe Philly doesn't have as easy of a push into the Super Bowl as they would have if you had to go through, Purdy and then Jimmy G.
Not Philly, San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is Philly wouldn't have it as easy of a push in if they would have had to have played Jimmy D.
I beg to differ. They could have easily put Jimmy D on the freaking roster. They chose not to. They chose not to.
Yeah, which
and
is
that's their fault. That's completely their fault.
Yeah, and I like how that player has to be on the 53-man roster, not your practice squad, because it opens up, a lot of these teams are going to now carry 3 quarterbacks, which Tennessee, a team that does not carry 3 quarterbacks, usually year to year most teams will probably carry 3 quarterbacks. So, you might take away from a different position, but
I think Steve remembers the year where I think the Browns went through. I don't know if it was Brandon Whedon's year, but I know it was like
5 or 6.
It was that was the year I think. Was it Terrell Pryor that went from wide receiver to quarterback?
Yeah, it was an emergency rule.
It was an emergency rule, and we had 5 or 6 quarterbacks on that played that year. It was ridiculous. I'm not opposed to this.
No.
I think it's an excuse for good teams to not know how to manage their roster. I'm not opposed to it. But the other rule change, which I know you are adamant about, was the way this is phrased.
It makes no sense
on Twitter. Is it says a fair catch on a kickoff, and somebody in chat, if you can, I don't know what a fair catch on a kickoff is because I don't think you can fair catch a kickoff. I know you can get a touchback on a kickoff. And I know that you can get a fair catch on a kick return, which is a punt.
Yeah, so this is word for word. It says in quotes, the league and its owners approved a rule change that enables kickoff returners to fair catch kickoffs in order to place the ball on the returning team's 25-yard line, according to the Tuesday morning report from NFL Network's Tom Pelissero.
Okay, so what I'm getting out of this is that now you can fair catch a kickoff.
Yeah.
So that is the rule. Is now you no longer need to do a touchback.
You
can literally just fair catch at like the 10-yard line instead of trying to run the ball.
So let me ask you this: at what point do you just say we're not going to do kickoffs anymore? We're fine with punts. I'm fine with doing punts because punts change games. I mean, especially when it comes down to the end of games and you're tossing it and stuff like that. But
I think at no point. I think it's part of the NFL. I think it's part of it's part of the league.
I mean, at some point it's just going to disappear because you're just. I understand. You say it's for player safety, but then you have Thursday games that can be flexed, so you're kind of teetering on the edge of each.
Yeah. What is player safety when you got guys playing on 4 days of rest?
Yeah. That's
player safety. Give guys more rest.
Might
as well play every other week and just make it an all-year league.
If you are watching the NFL and you really care about player safety, the NFL does not. You know what the NFL cares about? Money. They want to make money hand over fist, and that's what it's all been about. Why do you think they're pushing so many of these cliche, like types of talk? They keep pushing for the stands for the flag.
It's not cliche. It's not cliche. It's damn it, I had it on the tip of my tongue. It's it's pandering.
Yeah, pandering. So pandering. I loved the everybody was kneeling for the flag, but then a year later, we support the troops. And they they had this whole big commercial about, we support the troops, and they had all.
How did you go this far?
The soldiers come out. I'm sorry. It's just
I
hate the NFL sometimes.
I get it, but I don't know how you went this far from kickoffs and let's take a step back.
Because
we're talking about fair catches. I get it. Just take a step. We're talking about fair catches on kickoffs. I think the NFL is beyond pissed off wheels at this point. And to be honest with you, I am one of those guys who gets freaking agitated about all this bullshit.
Yeah, me too.
But that's not why we're here. We are here to talk strictly football. And we can call out the bullshit, but that bullshit's done. It's past. It's over with. Fair catching on kickoffs, we'll see. It could be one of those rules that they turn back. But I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't hurt. I don't think it does anything. They pander so hard.
All right, so
it's one of those things where I just don't think it's going to affect the NFL too much outside of the guys that catch it on the one instead of going for it. They're like, I might as well see what I can do.
You got guys like the speed guys like Tyreek Hill and stuff like that. That's Tyreek Hill wasn't drafted because of he was drafted late. He had a domestic dispute issue, drafted later, I think 3rd or 4th round.
Tyreek Hill had a domestic dispute before drafted?
Yeah, before drafted. He dropped, I believe. He was a 3rd round pick.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if he was charged.
Okay. I know he had some stuff going to college.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
But, there's a lot of guys. A lot of these guys are drafted because of their speed, because with punt and kick returns, you can change the way of a game. We saw with the Browns-Jets game.
Speaking of Tyreek Hill, did anybody see that video where he called the Kansas City Chiefs the Kansas City Queefs? He was working out in Miami. Working out in Miami in gym, and he said, "Yeah, and I used to work for the Kansas City Queefs." About to die laughing. He has hated on that team so much since he left.
Well, there was a speaking on that real quick. There was I saw a post.
Yes, Steve. Before Tyreek broke his kid's arm, correct?
I saw a post on Twitter that said, "How mad do you think Tyreek Hill is that he didn't win another ring?" And guess what? He doesn't care. He went to Miami for the money. He already has his ring. Now he's got money. So, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. What you love more, money or a ring?
Completely agree. All right, so now that we've kind of gotten off track a little bit, we talked the rule changes, which we wanted to get into a little bit about that. We're going to jump into the easiest division for us. We're going to rank these teams. I'm going to just give you guys this one pretty quick for Wheels and I, because I think we have the exact same rankings for our power rankings. So let me give this to you. I'll give you mine really quick. Here they are. Nope, that's the wrong ones. Oh, I didn't label them correctly. That's nice. All right, so I have for the West, I have the Chiefs at 1, the Chargers at 2, the Broncos at 3, and the Raiders at 4. And then I'm going to give Wheels this one, and then I'll kind of go over the argument here for a second. So Wheels and I, we might have the exact same reasoning. So I'm gonna go over his and see what we got.
So we do have the same rankings. I'm going to go 4-1. We got the Raiders, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs. So I'm going to start with the Raiders. The Raiders, you added Tyree Wilson. You have Jimmy G, who just came off a foot injury and surgery this offseason. You have Devontae Adams, who's a little bit older. Josh Jacobs is coming off a career year. But my biggest thing is, what did you add to that team to create value on defense and offense besides Tyree Wilson? And so with the Las Vegas Raiders, you added Tyree Wilson, Michael Mayer, Byron Young, Trey Tucker, Aiden O'Connell. You didn't add another wide receiver. Michael Mayer, I like that pick with them getting rid of Darren Waller. But at 7, I feel like you could have took a wide receiver. You could have traded back to get more value. The Raiders always...
Well, they lost... they lost 2 tight ends. They also lost Foster Moreau to the Saints.
That's Foster Moreau.
So they had to get a tight end.
Yeah. So
they lost some big pieces there.
I don't hate this draft. I hate this draft for this team. That's my biggest issue, because it seems like the Raiders always surprise people, and they have a really hard time hitting on their draft pick.
I know. I think you're hating on a team that has some pretty decent wide receivers.
But in this division...
But they have good wide receivers.
Yeah, but youth-wise, Devontae Adams, we talk about wide receivers. I know Devontae Adams, he's a great wide receiver. I'm not taking anything away from that, but they peak.
I don't know. Devontae Adams, you got Jacoby Myers at 26, Hunter Renfrow at 27.
I do like the Aiden O'Connell pick because of the way he plays. It's a good backup, because I'm guessing he's going to get some playing time with Jimmy G being behind center.
Oh, don't forget they also signed Austin Hooper.
Yeah, that doesn't hold much value to me personally. And then So now we go to the Broncos, which you go,
I mean, Austin Hooper's still young, though. He's 28.
but he didn't produce much.
But he's a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
So you're helping protect Derek Carr. I just don't know.
Michael Mayer is kind of a...
Chiefs are not a goat.
So
They're like a lamb.
they're like a lamb. And now you go to Denver, who I have them third because of the new head coach with Sean Payton. And you don't know what you have with Javonte Williams coming back after a terrible CL injury where he just exploded his knee, essentially. And, you're not going to rush him back if you feel that, this is your year, next year's your year. You're going to take your time. And their draft wasn't bad. Marvin Mims, Drew Sanders, Riley Moss, J.L. Skinner, Alex Forsyth. I do like Forsyth as a center coming in the 7th round, but they need some more offensive line, depth in that and get little bit younger.
What are you talking about? They just signed everybody in the offseason.
I understand that.
They literally paid $140 million for offensive linemen.
You need to get a little bit younger. Their defenses, I think they have one of the best defenses in this division, in my opinion, but I don't know if the offense is going to be able to overcome some of the issues of, I think, what's going to happen with, injuries, because every year to year, there are always wide receiver injuries for that team. Jerry Jeudy really, he's been kind of the only bright side besides Devontae his first year, and he was injured last year. He dropped. So I have them third just because I don't put a lot of value in that team with a Sean Payton.
Ben Powers is 26. That's the dude they paid
But he's what, a guard?
But they paid him $80 million.
Yeah, who are his tackles?
His tackles are 28 years old.
But who are they?
You got Mike McGlinchey, who's 28. Cam Fleming's a little on the older side, and then
Cam Fleming's is your left. I know you're right.
Okay. You still have. I
didn't know they added McGlinchey. That's my bad.
They made great signings at all. They literally paid that entire offensive line to keep Russell Wilson healthy.
I didn't see they had McGlinchey. I thought he went to a different team.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. My only issue is just that I think the Chargers and the Broncos are easily swappable.
Yeah, when we
want to talk about health, let's talk about maybe the offensive health of the Broncos, but let's talk about the defensive health of the Chargers, because the Chargers have to score 35 points a game because they can't stay on the field.
Yeah, and
defensively,
so that's a perfect swing of the Chargers now. Which the Chargers I liked. They added Quentin Johnson. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he fits that team in the role.
Mike Williams broke his back. They needed a number 2 receiver.
Yeah, he fits that team in which they which he's being drafted for. Tuli Tuipulotu from USC.
Linebacker.
We were a huge fan of him at outside linebacker. Davion Henley, inside linebacker, and pretty much that's the only guys that matter in my opinion in this draft. Other than you look a little bit later, a lot of these guys they're depth pieces, but. So for the Chargers last year, like we said, huge injury year for Brandon Staley. But I have a feeling this is Brandon Staley's last year to prove it or lose it, and he's gone because how many more years of Justin Herbert on his rookie contract can you waste? Because I think he's got 1 year left.
No, he gets this is 5th year options coming up this year.
Yeah, so
coming up this year is his 5th year option. So
you're running out of time, and like we said, there's a lot of these teams.
I don't know, man. Justin Herbert might not start the season.
Who's going to start? Max Duggan?
Justin Herbert's having throwing issues. He's having Jimmy Garoppolo throwing issues.
You're not going to start Max Duggan. You're going to start.
I don't know, man.
Where did you hear that? I didn't see anything of that.
Yeah, he's having issues with OTAs of throwing the ball because he had his shoulder. I don't know if he had shoulder surgery or if he had stuff cleaned up in his shoulder, which would be minor surgery.
Yeah,
but he's having issues throwing the ball.
We're how many months out from preseason? So
I don't disagree.
It's there, so it's something we got to monitor, which I wholeheartedly believe in. But so I like the Chargers again. So like we said with the Broncos, they're easily flippable.
I think the Broncos could. This is again one of those
1A,
divisions.
1B
It's one of those divisions
2A,
where
2B.
If the Chiefs weren't the Chiefs, I could easily see these top 3 teams competing. And to be honest with you, the Chiefs on paper, power ranking wise, are the 3rd best team in this division. Because when you look at their wide receivers, they've got 2 wide receivers that have played more than a year in the NFL.
Yeah, Sky Moore and
Kadarius Toney
Sky Moore.
Sky Moore he's never touched the ball outside of last year, I think he touched like one time.
And everybody was head over heels for him because in the playoffs, he kind of in the Super Bowl, he kind of, I don't even want to say popped, but he showed up.
They signed somebody else. Sorry,
so
I'm looking at it.
The reason why,
Marquez
Marquez Valdes-Scantling. So But
don't forget they signed Rashee Rice. But they are hopping up the Rosses right now. Justin and John Ross. They are hyping those guys up like no other right now.
Who's hyping them up?
Coach.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course you're going to hype them up. There was Dan Campbell said that Jameson Williams is going to be a huge threat when he comes back out of the
Justin
suspension.
Ross is a boss. This guy was drafted so late, and everybody looked at him and was like, he's not going to get play time. I think he broke his foot or something in the preseason.
Yeah, he's super fast, wasn't he?
He's fast. He's 6'4", 210. Like, this is a big wide receiver. So if he's on the field and him and Patrick Mahomes have some type of chemistry, watch out.
So this is kind of how...
my wife has him on her team, and I'm the one that drafted him for her. And Ryan was pissed at me. So it's kind of funny.
The reason why I have this division ranked as it is you look at quarterbacks. Who holds the ball the longest? The quarterback. Who are you relying on to make plays? The quarterback. Who do you want to make that final
I completely agree with
you. Quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes is that guy.
Completely agree with you. I think this rankings comes straight down the quarterback play and then coaching. Yeah, and when you take Reed and you match him up with Patrick Mahomes, you kind of have to.
It gels.
You kind of just have to make them one overall.
I'm gonna stick with.
You are paying attention to the show. Thank you, sweetheart.
I'm gonna stick with Mahomes.
You drop him like you drop Zamir White. We're gonna have. Oh, by the way, I got Zamir White off the waivers. Just letting you know that. Don't drop Justin Ross. Crazy lady. Love you. But like I said, I completely agree with you when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and then you go to the Chargers and you got Justin Herbert and
Brandon Staley,
and then Staley. I don't know if Staley's been proven to be able to good coach because there are kind of some issues there.
Yeah, I know.
Why would you play Mike Williams in the last week of the year and then break his back? It was an unnecessary play when you already made the playoffs. You weren't going up or down in your division. No. It just didn't make sense.
It was a stupid move, and I'm surprised he wasn't fired. But that's why I'm saying he's on the hot seat no matter what this year. If they don't make the playoffs and they miss, I think he's out. Because, again, Justin Herbert is so young, and you're not paying him. This is when you need to show up, and you're building that team. He's got a good team around him. Yeah, you got Austin Eckler, who's 31, but there's no reason.
What you just say? Austin Eckler is not 31.
Yeah, he will.
No, he's
Start
not.
of the season, he will be 31.
What? You are crazy.
Or not 31,
28.
sorry, 28. Sorry,
I was like, what are you talking
38.
about?
28.
Kareem Hunt's not even 31.
No, 28, my bad.
Is there a 31-year-old running back playing?
Melvin
Speaking
Gordon.
of 31-year-old running backs, Adrian Peterson said he's not retiring until the age of when he doesn't get hired again. So
he didn't get hired last year.
Right. He says if nobody gives him a job this year, then he'll retire at 38 years old.
Cleveland, you should sign him.
No, do not. Well, no, you don't need help in running back. Although, why you got to do the Cleveland thing? Darrell Henderson. That was another thing that came up today. Darrell Henderson actually tried out with the Browns. So Darrell Henderson actually might be an expensive running back for the Cleveland Browns. So
there's a lot of good running backs out there. You got Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt. You got Ezekiel Elliott. And those are just a few guys. And all of them, guess what?
Can you say that name again for me?
Ezekiel Elliott. Sorry. Zeke. I'm an OSU fan.
Just say Zeke.
So this goes to show you that the NFL...
The Amish brother.
The NFL...
Ezekiel.
The NFL and the owners aren't putting a lot of faith in these running backs because they know...
They're a dime a dozen.
Exactly. And I hate saying that, but look at what the Giants are doing, which Saquon Barkley right now. I enunciated. See, aren't you happy with me?
Yeah, I'm happy with you. And then, but again, Denver Broncos, we got Russell Wilson, who Russell hasn't been Russell for 4 years.
No.
So, and then Sean Payton. So this one, the only reason we kind of discredit is because of the quarterback situation, not the coaching situation.
Yeah, and there's always going to be, some headbutting. I mean... To begin with, he kicked out.
What do you mean headbutting? You mean get the fuck out of your office and I'm kicking you out of there and I'm kicking your coaches out of there and you're going to be a player, not a coach? That kind of headbutting?
Russell Wilson is such a odd player. He's the cringiest quarterback. Pretty much. I mean, he's what everybody was saying that Tom Brady was. Tom Brady, not Tom Brady, I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers.
Shaquan. That's for guessing. Shaquan. Yeah, I agree with you. Completely agree with you. When it comes
and then you got Jimmy G, who, like we said, he already had surgery.
Jimmy G, and who's his coach? Come on. McDaniel or McDaniels?
Mike McDaniels.
Which one is it? I never remember.
Mike McDaniel. No,
it's the one that sucks. That's all I know.
No, it's not Mike McDaniel.
It's the one that came from the Patriots.
Josh
McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel is for the Dolphins, and he is McDaniel.
Steve remembers this.
The Raiders is McDaniels.
We're talking the Raiders.
Yeah, but that's Josh.
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
And then it's Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was
I never remember. All I know is the Raiders, we suck again.
The Raiders can never, hit on their drafts. I mean, every year there's...
Whoa, did they not draft like the fifth best defensive end? No, didn't they draft the fifth best defensive end?
Tyree Wilson?
No, the ginger. Soulless.
Max Crosby?
Yeah.
He was
like a 6th round pick or something like that.
4th.
That's a pretty good 4th round pick. You just said they don't hit on their drafts.
The Browns drafted Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett. So
they hit on Hunter Renfrow.
Get the fuck out of here.
They hit on Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs hit a fucking
a woman and a dog. I know.
And then you got the defensive back from Ohio State. He guys got charged with more gun charges. Who's the defensive back? I can't remember.
Do you think they hit on Tyree Wilson?
I didn't like Tyree. Or no, I love Tyree. I don't like him on that team.
You don't like him opposite of Max?
No.
Come on, bro.
So I like him, but that team could have drafted somebody else. They need help on that offense.
You just said they needed help on defense.
They need help everywhere, but Tyree Wilson you could trade back for and get more value.
What are you talking about? You said Tyree was your best defensive end coming out of this draft class.
He was.
And you said you don't like him here?
Not on this team because of I think there's other needs that need to be filled.
What other needs?
Let's see. You need more defensive tackles. You need defensive backs. You need a safety.
They have Byron Young, a defensive tackle.
Who I did not like. I like the Byron Young out of Tennessee, not Alabama.
Jerry Tillery.
I do like the Wanya Morris pick out of Oklahoma, though, that O tackle. I do like that pick quite a lot.
I think
Kansas City. I'm sorry.
All I want to say is I don't want to say that this team is that bad. There are a lot worse teams in the NFL.
They drafted Derek Carr 2.0, Aiden O'Connell.
It's not Derek Carr 2.0.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Jaron Hall. I think
they have. By the way, they have Brian Hoyer as their backup. So they went.
Brian Hoyer's gonna play.
They went. Brian Hoyer gets another shot. Him and Colt McCoy are the same age, I think.
So
it's pretty funny.
So as a show, we got obviously the the Chiefs 1, the Chargers 2, the Broncos 3, and the Raiders 4.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much our consensus. Yeah. I don't really see, like I said, Denver could easily go to the 2 spot instead of the 1 spot.
But
so
again, we're judging it based on the addition of Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Not being, like we said, Russell Wilson in 4 years. He hasn't shown any progress. It seems like he hit his ceiling, and he's just there.
But I guess I personally, if I really wanted to make an adjustment here, I really do think Denver has the potential to be the 2.
Yeah.
Because the year before
100%.
I was calling Denver a possible 1, even though I said they were going to suck. I was like, people are underestimating the head coach change. They're underestimating a new quarterback to a new system. They're underestimating all of these changes. And they're like, hey, Denver's the best team in this division. And they're not. They're not. Now, where Sean Payton, I think it's a different situation. Sean Payton knows how to put teams together. He knows how to adjust defenses. And he's still a good defensive coach. They didn't lose anything on the defensive time.
No.
So I think, to be honest with you, I think Denver has the potential to be a 1 in this division.
Yeah,
and Kansas City, based on what I've seen them do, Kansas City does not have the best team. They have the best coach and the best quarterback.
They can be exposed if you stop the passing game because they're running backs. And you got Isaiah Pacheco.
And
Jared
FYI,
McKinnon,
for all you guys
Clyde.
out there, they are now hyping up CEH and say he looks good after coming off injury.
Yeah, but
so for all you guys that dropped Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if you're watching this show out there, good luck.
I got him in the 12th round in a draft today.
All right,
That's
so
12th round.
what we're going to do is we're going to move right into that next division. We're going to talk about the West East.
Yeah,
talk about the
AFC
East. And we're going to give this one to Wheels, and then I'll combat it a little bit. So, Wheels, what do you like?
So, I'm a Bills fan, and I'm going to be real with you. Starting with the Patriots.
If you guys can't tell, he is a Bills fan, not a Browns fan. I'll tell you this every show. He's not a Browns fan.
If the Bills and the Browns play, I will always root for the Browns.
All right, he said it here first and last.
I hate putting the Patriots at 4. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid because of Bill Belichick. But
this is the coach. This is the quarterback situation, not the coach situation.
This is exactly. So this is the quarterback situation. You had fans, and you went to Bailey Zapp last year, and now there are rumors swirling and articles swirling that it may be a quarterback duel up in Foxborough, which. If you're Mac Jones and you already hated that team, your old offensive coordinator, and you're already, fighting with them, this is the last thing you want to see. So with that being said, and with their draft, because they didn't, you added Juju Smith-Schuster in the offseason, which is no different than who they have before,
Jacoby Myers.
Or Jacoby Myers, thank you, who went to, I think he went to
The Raiders.
I
just said it.
But... So I have the Patriots 4, just like we said, because of the quarterback situation. Their defense, they had a great defense last year. But
Bill Belichick's a defensive guru.
Yeah, but like we said,
whereas Andy Reid's your offensive guy, Bill Belichick's your defensive guru.
Exactly. And then we'll push on to Buffalo, which I don't like them this year. I think Josh Allen's going to take a step back. I think if he keeps playing the way he is, he's going to miss 3 to 4 games.
How much further of a step back can he take after last year?
I think, like I said, he's going to miss 3 to 4 games because they don't have a running game. You have good guys. You got James Cook. You got Damian Harris, which I'm not a huge fan of. And you could have drafted a running back in this draft. But you took a tight end in the first round when you have Dawson Knox.
Yeah, a lot of people have them running a 2 tight end set.
I understand that, but
we all know
very good red zone tight end to begin with.
We all know Dalton Kincaid's a big slot.
Dalton Kincaid is a big slot, but what else? You didn't add anything on defense. You lost your safety.
They didn't lose anything on defense.
Yeah, you did.
No, they all came back.
No, you're wrong. They lost Tremaine Edmonds. They lost Micah Hyde.
They got Damar Hamlin back.
Damar Hamlin.
No, Micah Hyde's on the roster. Jordan Poyer is still on the roster. They got him back.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't lose too much at safety. They might have lost some youth at safety. But I think Jared Maiden and Damar Hamlin are their guys.
That's terrible. Damar Hamlin was
Micah Hyde's
a 6th round pick.
Micah Hyde's 32.
Yeah, he's old. He used to, and then you got
Poyer's also 32.
Which was the one that used to play for the Browns? Was that Hyde?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we traded or let him go, and
But I just don't.
So this isn't really a quarterback situation. This is just a team situation with your current assets because. Outside of Stephon Diggs, there's really not a next guy that I can put on that team that I know is going to be a go-to.
Well, Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir, who actually stepped up big last year.
Yeah, but Gabe Davis stepped up the year before that, so it's kind of a merry-go-round.
But Khalil Shakir stepped up big last year.
Oh, I know, but
so that's why they got rid of McKenzie.
Yeah, but the year before that it was Gabe Davis, and then he didn't do anything. They were hyping up Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis played very well last year. In 3 games, but he played very well last year. He had 1 game for over 200 yards and 3 catches.
Oh, 1 game. Why couldn't you be there all year?
I don't know. I don't know how that was such a ridiculous game. 2 touchdowns, 100.
Or was that a playoff game?
You're thinking the kick. You're thinking the kick returns in that first playoff game.
That's right. Against the Patriots, I think, nonetheless.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I love Josh Allen, but
that might have been week 17 or 18.
You need a running game. You need a running game to take some pressure off his shoulder because, I should say shoulder, elbow, just in general, just take off Josh Allen because he's going to get injured.
I think they have running backs though because they got Latavius, but they got Latavius Murray as their big goal line guy. You got James Cook, who's their young kid. Damian Harris is there, and then you traded for Nyheim Hines. So like, it's yes, you got rid of Singletary, but like this team has always been a committee team.
Yeah, but Sean McDermott's never utilized them the correct way.
Well, he said he wanted to use James Cook huge this year, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Like we said,
and they've already come out and said they don't want Josh Allen running the ball that much, and they want to protect him. And they gave him a tight end. They gave him 2 tight end sets, which gives you more blocking ability. So
that just shows that they don't have faith in the offensive line coming in this year, which I get.
I agree with what you're saying, but I don't know how accurate that is. I agree with what you're saying.
And it was really hard for me to put them at 3. But when you look at everything on paper and you look at their draft...
Because don't forget they drafted Torrance.
I know they drafted Osiris Torrance. I like him out of Florida. I liked him as a guard. But is he going to be a day one impact guy, you think? Or,
yes. He was supposed to be the best guard coming off the board of this draft. And he dropped.
Outside of Andrew Voorhees.
Voorhees is obviously injured.
Which is a huge pick. And then, so we'll switch
to the Ravens.
We'll switch to the Dolphins. You got Tua about to get a concussion.
Jesus, it's too soon for that, man.
Hey, you added the one and only Chosen Anderson, who changed his name 7 times. And I mean, the Dolphins. It's hard because if Tua can stay healthy all year and not, go down with an injury, concussion, any of that, the Dolphins can produce. They're going to be a good team. Again, this is another hard division where everybody's kind of close. And it's hard for me as a person to put them below Buffalo or the Patriots just because of their roster. If you look at their roster on paper, it's all there. They have a Browns team. Who was it? Chase Brown.
I love you, Ryan. Their team on paper is the Browns this year. It's one of those teams that there's no excuse for them to not to be the best team in the division. But it doesn't mean that they are the best team in the division, to be honest with you. But I understand why you have them where you have them because I think weren't they 11-0 or something like that?
Yeah. They drafted Devin Achane.
Yeah, and you still
got Tyreek, you still got Jalen Waddle, who's 24.
You still have Jeff Wilson. I think you traded for him.
Yeah,
and they brought back every other running back too on their roster.
Who's their tight end though?
Oh, their tight ends.
Let Gesicki go.
Their tight end Smythe. So Smythe had an okay season. Yeah, Durham Smythe. He had an okay season last year, but that's all they got, man.
You could have had a first round pick if you didn't.
Oh, you know what? I forgot they got the Elijah Higgins. The kid that said he was going to change from wide receiver to tight end.
I did pick him up in a league because of that, which is huge because guess what? He wants to play. It shows, they
asked him to play that. And he said, I'm willing to play it.
Because he wants to be on the field. He wants to be on the field. Yeah, he wants to play. So, Miami, there's not a lot to talk about here. They only had 4 draft picks. They lost a draft pick because of tampering. But I think with everybody coming back
many draft picks.
And healthy, I don't see them dropping past second.
I get it.
And then you go to the Jets, who added the one and only Aaron Rodgers and the Hat Man. That's for Steve. The Hat Man.
The Hat Man. He's not even in there in chat anymore.
Thanks,
the
Steve.
Hat Man.
Appreciate it.
So I don't like it. Me and you. I'll kick off with this one, right? Because me and you are on the same page here. I'll go back the other way now. So Jets won. I agree with you. This roster is another roster. Defensively, one of the best defense in the league last year. Didn't lose anything. Only added stuff. Defensive rookie of the year. This team is going to be astounding. I don't even really care about the players because the fact that Corey Davis is their 3rd receiver that Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing the ball to.
And the running backs, you have...
everybody. You still have Breece Hall, Mike Davis.
Michael Carter.
Or Michael Carter. Yeah, you're right.
Michael Carter. You added Izzy Abanikanda.
Oh, yeah.
Which is huge. So you have 3 good...
We loved Abanikanda coming into this draft.
Pitt. We loved him.
Yeah. So,
you added Joe Tippmann, their center. Will McDonald, the 4th. Carter wore an offensive tackle out of Pitt. So... They
and then they went and they made sure that their offensive line was pretty it wasn't perfect. That's probably the only place they lack is that offensive line. Like a lot of people are a little upset that their offensive line, they didn't go out and get like a stud guy.
But maybe they just felt like, with the way they talked to Rodgers, maybe they felt they can get away with it. But who is your best quarterback in this division?
Best quarterback in this division?
In this division. I know what you want to say.
It's got to be Aaron Rodgers, just because when I think of consistency and efficiency, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers.
And
so,
like I said, I love Josh Allen.
And if I go quarterback-coach combo, it's going to be the Jets.
Yeah.
And then if I were to go quarterback-coach combo, I'd probably say Miami. But I have Buffalo here because they didn't lose a lot on defense. Now, it is older, and that I can understand.
Buffalo at 1?
I have Buffalo at 2.
Oh, 2, sorry.
I have Buffalo at 2. I have the Jets at 1 because the Jets would have been 1 last year if they had a quarterback.
Yeah,
but this is that Denver Broncos situation to where like Denver only needed a quarterback. But the difference between the Denver Broncos and the Jets is the Jets aren't switching head coach.
No,
Denver changed the entire front office. So I easily have the Jets at 1 here, and I think they roll away with this division. The Jets are probably a 12-5 team.
Oh yeah.
And I haven't seen 100% of their roster, but I know that the Browns could easily lose to them in Week 17.
100%.
We also play them in the preseason, which makes also 0 sense to me why we play them twice this year. Anyways, I agree with almost everything you said here. If you're going to switch teams, it could be Miami and Buffalo. The reason I have Buffalo where they're at is because they've kind of been the leaders of this division outside of the Patriots. Yeah. The only reason I have the Patriots at 4 is just because everybody else is so much better.
Exactly.
It's literally has nothing to do with honestly the entire team, because I think the team always is built to succeed because what Belichick does with mediocre talent.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, this kind of reminds me of Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. They always somehow win. They always, they're good enough to win.
Jimmy, I'm so glad I saw that just now. Are you kidding me?
And I'm not comparing.
I love your sarcasm in this chat.
And I'm not comparing Mike Tomlin to Bill Belichick at all, but they're kind of two of the blueprint teams that always seem to find a way to win, no matter what. Everybody doubts them, and they somehow, surprise people. And it's, again, the Patriots, they're not a bad team, but in this division, when you look at all the other teams, they are the 4th best team on paper, and in our minds as a show, I think we would have to agree with.
The AFC is going to be one of those divisions that is going to be hard to encounter this year.
The AFC are the youngest team quarterback and wide receiver wise. I saw a post.
And that's the other argument for the Jets, right? You have Garrett Wilson, who was arguably the offensive rookie of the year. Or no, he was the offensive rookie of the year, wasn't he? I think he got offensive rookie of the year.
He did get offensive rookie
because
of the year,
the argument was they had defensive rookie of the year and offensive rookie of the year on the same roster. Yeah. They had both,
which hasn't happened.
And then you go add a 2-time perennial MVP to that same roster.
Mm-hmm. And you still have Breece Hall, who you didn't have for
Breece Hall could have
12 weeks last year.
He got injured like week 5 or 6. Yeah. So
I mean, they are again another team that's in win now mode.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean,
it's next 2 years. Win now for the next 2 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that saying, "Oh, Rodgers going to play for 2 years because he has a roster that he likes."
Well, and Zach Wilson's going to do whatever he wants him to do because Zach Wilson thinks he's a prodigy.
Zach Wilson.
They had chemistry before Zach. They had chemistry before Zach Wilson. Aaron Rodgers even went there. He actually had talked. He was mentoring him in the offseason. So this was going on before then. My only issue is that another coach got a job just because of Aaron Rodgers. So I'm sick of seeing Hackett stay on freaking coaching.
Oh, as an offensive coordinator?
He doesn't deserve it.
No. He went there because Rodgers wanted him.
The offense never produced in Denver.
But you came out and said that.
Because they tried to do that in Denver, and the Jets are like, we're going to show you how to do it. Get him and then start signing receivers.
And I believe Ryan also said that Rodgers was going because of Nathaniel Hackett signing, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but it had already happened, so that was just an excuse, to be honest with you.
Firefighters calling you?
Again, same exact number. I'm so annoyed. It's 15 times
Let's see
today.
What they got to say. Come on.
15 times today. It's so absurd. That's all we have here, though, because I think that was my rankings, right? So I got Bills 2, Miami 3, Patriots 4. You got Miami 2, Bills 3, Patriots 4.
Let me close out the show with this real quick. I would like kind of just to pop off you real quick. I'd like to do something like this every show.
You know, pop off me?
Would you?
What does that even mean?
Would you rather? Who would you rather have?
Oh, he's going to do a would you rather.
Would you rather have Chris Carter or Marvin Harrison?
It's too soon to tell, but if I were to have to say right now.
No. Chris Carter or Marvin Harrison. Not Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Carter or Marvin Harrison. His father.
Oh. This guy. Chris Carter.
I'd rather have Marvin Harrison.
It's so I'd have to go back and look at it though. I really would have to go back and look at it.
They're pretty similar if you look at their stats, which is crazy.
I completely believe that they are similar.
But
I have to go back and look at it because
go look at the quarterbacks they played with, because Marvin Harrison had the one and only Peyton Manning for I think majority of his career, if I'm not wrong.
So the best regular season quarterback to ever play the game.
I think 96 Marvin Harrison was, or 98.
Ryan says Chris Carter, but
yeah. It's hard.
It's hard because of the eras, like you said. Well, I know both these guys are very good players. The question is, like you said, you already knew coming into the question who they played with.
That's why.
So it's like I'm thinking coaching, I'm thinking team, I'm thinking competition.
That's why I'm trying to spring it upon you, and it's raw just to see what your reaction would be.
And that's what Ryan said, Marvin. Who did Chris Carter have, though? Who did Chris Carter have?
I like Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning. I grew up watching those two when I was very young, and I fell in love with, that's when I fell in love with football, watching those two guys play. And it was awesome. That was, I don't want to compare him to Jordan, but that was my Jordan era, for football. I never got to watch Jordan as a younger kid, but football-wise, I got to watch
You should
Marvin.
Go back and watch Dan Marino.
Again, that's another. Dan Marino is the best quarterback ever not to win a Super Bowl.
Well, that's not easy. You can't even argue that. That's obvious.
But
that's obvious. I mean, I saw somebody the other day. Actually, no, it was somebody. Who was it? Patrick Mahomes ranked his
Mr. Mechanical.
Patrick Mahomes ranked his top 5 quarterbacks, and he put John Elway and Dan Marino on number 5. I was just like, I wanted to fisticuffs.
I'm sorry, I'll take Dan Marino over John Elway.
Oh, they're not even close. A lot of people in Denver. A lot of people in Denver would say John Elway is better, but
and that's not just because I'm a Browns fan.
John Elway had to cheat to get past the Browns, so
the Browns cheated. What?
That's how I feel about that one, and that was before the Browns were the Ravens. That one's for you too, Ryan. Man. All right. So I think that's it for the show today. I don't have anything else today. What we're going to do is next Wednesday. Sorry, by the way, the show was a little bit late. I hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend, too. I know I didn't do that on the intro, but I know I was a little too drunk.
No, you mean, I hope you have a
I hope you have a great Memorial. You're right. I was so drunk last weekend. It's not even close. And they're not that close, Ryan. They're not that close.
No.
Like, you already know that who Elway's played with, and you know the defenses Elway had, and you go look at Marino. And he stayed on it, and Marino stayed on that team.
And it wasn't even Marino's fault, in my opinion.
I mean, Marino had decent receivers. Ryan's one of the few people in the chat that know the receivers for Marino.
Yeah, I don't know much of the receivers, but
I am not still drunk.
He is.
No, I am still hung over 5 days later. There's a difference, and it is not feeling good. And you know what? I actually looked at how much was left in that bottle down there, and it's no bueno because that was mostly me. It's no bueno.
How'd you feel the next day?
Not good. Not good. Not good. But it's so bad though. Like, I haven't been myself since Saturday.
McDuffie.
Receiver.
Oh.
But this being said,
Friar McDuffie.
I really hope you guys do have a great Memorial Day weekend this weekend. And what we're gonna do is next Wednesday. You're gonna be here, right? Next week.
Yes.
Okay. Next Wednesday we're gonna go over the NFC East-West, and then we're going to go North-South because I already did the North.
That'll be mostly my conversation.
Yeah, and then we're going to start getting into the scheduling and what our power rankings for the schedules are and stuff like that.
That's when we're going to go more dynasty-wise.
And we might even talk about the 53-man rosters, who we see making it, because OTAs are going on right now. And then I know that training camp, I think, is July. So there'll be a lot going on there.
Third week of July.
And if you guys want, we can even do some redrafts for fantasy. We can do some rookie or redrafts for fantasy.
I mean, we would love, we would love to maybe do a live redraft with some of the guys or some people that watch the show. I mean, that'd be fun to do on Sleeper. Just. Oh,
so I'm gonna start posting my bets out there because it'll be fun too. Because I've got the Discord going and I've got Best Bets is one of the channels. So I think people should post their bets out there and have some fun. Because you know what? Nothing's more fun than gambling on a sport in Ohio.
It's that or the lake, so
take it easy though. Don't gamble big money. Have fun. Go
You're not
small.
Listen to us for financial advice. We are not financial advisors.
I mean, I can advise you. It's not good.
I'm not hitting the button for you. That's all you, bud.
It's not good. So that's my takeaways for the day. Wheels, you got any takeaways?
No, I mean, now we kind of went over everything. Again, so dynasty wise, I would go and I'd pick up Quentin Johnson. I'd draft him late first, early second. I mean, it just depends how you value him.
We could do a rookie draft again.
Rashee Rice, I would definitely pick up him. Marvin Mims, another guy who went to the Broncos, and I think they're looking for a wide receiver too next to Judy. I think that's the reason they drafted him. And then obviously Michael Mayer, who I love at tight end with the Raiders, he's going to play. Like we said, they lost Foster Moreau and they traded away Darren Waller. They traded both those guys. So, I mean, he's going to see playing time 100%.
Oh, yeah. The chances of him coming off the field are very unlikely.
I said this last week. Go pick up Clayton Tune. Clayton Tune will play for the Cardinals because of the Kyler Murray injury and the Colt McCoy surgery.
Colt McCoy is slotted to start still, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand
what you're saying.
Most of the time, he is going undrafted, so if you can pick him up and throw him on your taxi, what the heck, do it. I like him. I have him a couple
Stetson
of my leagues.
Bennett, Matt Stafford's one jump away from breaking a hip. Just saying it. Matt Stafford's one jump away.
Those are my dynasty takeaways for the day. My show takes away for the day is go follow the Facebook page. We're going to post a Discord on the Facebook page tonight. And, just follow. I mean, we're trying to stay up to date on these guys as much as we can. There's not a whole lot of news other than OTAs and some guys that are getting signed.
And guys, it is hype season.
Yes.
It is hype season. They're throwing to their own team with nobody covering them. Relax. And everybody that hates Deshaun Watson, relax. It's hype season. He's also not throwing good, in my mind. But that's in my mind.
Yeah, it's okay. We got the Mocha guy. What's his name?
I can't remember.
I loved when he played for he's got Joshua Dobbs when he played for the Volunteers.
No, it's not Josh Dobbs. We drafted the black guy we were talking about.
Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Yep.
Out of UCLA.
Yep. He even knows his name. I'm proud of him.
We're like the Ravens. We just have kind of tiers of Deshaun Watson, tiers of Lamar Jackson.
Yep. You got it. Well, you should have similar play sets for your backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's
I think that's why the Rams got Stetson Bennett, right? Like. That was the whole purpose of getting Stetson Bennett is because he's a pocket passer. He's not mobile, but he can get out if he needs to.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's 25, so he's old too.
The Chargers drafted Max Duggan.
And
then Hendon Hook.
Do they just draft guys that look like the previous quarterback?
And then Hendon Hooker goes to the
blonde hair on Max Duggan, and it's probably Justin Herbert. I'm gonna say. Put red hair on Herbert, and it's probably Max Duggan. I'm just gonna say.
Duggan.
All right. That's it for the show, guys, and.
Thanks for watching, boys.
Thanks for watching.
It. Follow, subscribe, share, please.
Like us, please. Like me.
Like me.
Peace out, guys.
Fuck me.
That's how you end the show.
I was supposed to do it.